When you're on the road and need a place to lay your head, a no vacancy sign is bad news indeed. Well, you've heard about the most famous no room here story for the last several days, but I'm going to give you the rest of the story. Hey, before I do, let me welcome you to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me, because I do this for you. My goal is to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and then to help them get to know Him and His Word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, let me invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. You can join our email list, be able to download a free copy of my book, Count to One, and get Mornings with Bishop Robert sent directly to your inbox every day. Click the link in the description and you'll find out all you need to know. Well, even people who are not otherwise familiar with Scripture often know quite a few details of the Christmas story. But since the stories come more from modern messaging than the Bible, we've got some images in our head of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph in a stable, and shepherds in fields, and 3 wise men arriving on camels, and an innkeeper who's got no room for a woman about to give birth. I mean, some of these are entirely biblically accurate. Others, very much less so. Okay, there were most certainly actual shepherds caring for real live sheep out in the actual fields surrounding Bethlehem. Now, the Bible doesn't give us a number, but they were there. We think of 3 wise men visiting because, well, 3 gifts are mentioned. But the Bible doesn't mention how many wise men there were. Our nativity scenes place them right there on the night of Christ's birth. But Matthew's gospel, the only one to mention the Magi, by the way, does not. There certainly could have been many more Magi who came to give these 3 gifts. And in fact, Matthew's account tells us that the star led the wise men to the Holy Family and the house they were in. That's right, a house. It's possible the Magi could have arrived days, months, even possibly years later. The Bible doesn't pin down those details. Everyone reads from the lens of their own experience and culture. Because some versions of the Bible use that word in for a word that had several possible meanings, people picture some ancient version of a Marriott or a Motel 6 and cast the innkeeper in a very unfavorable light. But the facts may surprise you. So let's begin with the verse for today. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. Now, some versions of the Bible translate this word as in, including the first major English translation, the King James Version. But that word typically refers to a spare room in a private house, not a commercial place of business that offered shelter to strangers. Look, during one Christmas celebration not long ago, my grandson found himself in the same situation Joseph and Mary faced. With 4 different out-of-town guests visiting for Christmas, we had no available beds in our home. Now, we have a guest room, but it was full. So we did what every family all over the world does in this situation. We found another comfortable place in the home for this grandson to sleep. It was a couch. Well, for Mary and Joseph, it was the part of the house where the families typically brought in their animals for the night. Now, we create the image of a cave or a stable because we know that Mary laid the baby Jesus in a manger. But having a manger of hay for the animals to feed on was very, very common. Now, go ahead and enjoy your nativity scenes. We have one prominently displayed in our home. But just recognize that They serve as a reminder of the cast of characters, not a completely accurate historical description of the sleeping arrangements. And by all means, let the poor innkeeper off the hook, would you? When Joseph showed up in his ancestral home, the rules of hospitality then would have dictated much the same expectation we have today. When family arrives in town, you find a way to make room. Some accommodations may be more comfortable than others. Some will have beds, others couches. Perhaps a few even get blankets and pillows on the floor. But you find a way to make room. And perhaps that's the overlooked lesson of Christmas. The lesson we all need to apply in our lives. Make room for Jesus. Make room in your heart. Make room in your life. Make room in your home. Oh, sure, you may need to rearrange a few things or make some adjustments. But He has come to you. So make room for Jesus. Hey, we've come to the end of our time, but I do want to ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew and help them get to know Him and His Word personally and better. Would you please like this video to help more people see it? And then click follow or subscribe so that you and I can get together every day. Click the link in the description. You'll get a free copy of my book, Count to One. And then one more thing. Would you share this video with a friend? Because as you do, you're part of the team touching hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. Thanks for helping.